So this one's gonna be again about Tim Ferriss' Tools of Titans, or to be a little bit more precise, about Tim Ferriss' 17 questions, which all I think pretty valuable, so stay tuned. Fuck. I thought let's just actually push the button without looking at it so that it looks cool. Didn't work. Really didn't work. But yeah, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics fucking podcast. And this is actually the second take I had to make, or I had to take, maybe. Because my PC shouted okay, you do not have enough space, motherfucker. And I thought okay, this time I'm not gonna challenge it because I've actually once challenged it. And normally it's not that bad, if he says okay, you do not have enough space, because it's actually, well, not always kind of the truth, but this time it was, because I looked it up, and I think it's just a little better to just, kind of end the episode after 3 fucking minutes, instead of having a just, fucked up episode after 30 minutes. This is just a really kind of piece of shit then. Especially if you do not have enough time, or if you do not have too much time a day, so that you can actually record it again. And actually, yeah, it's not that great. It's not that great recording the same exact thing 2 times, especially when you just practically talk about the same exact thing because you think about the exact same things. It's a little bit fucked up. I've done it once, and it really was fucked up. But yeah, I hope you're doing great. I hope your family's doing great. I hope every fucking body is doing great. And we're just going ahead, I think, without wasting any further time or any time. And yeah, we're just going to go ahead with the second question, or actually the sixth question, which is, what if I let them make decisions up to $100, $500, or $1,000? Tim Ferriss frames this as a management-centered question, but I'll expand it after his story. So when managing Brain Quicking, which actually was one of his first companies, Ferriss spent 40 hours a week on customer service, fighting fires and answering questions. He would get interrupted with special product requests or customers' forms. He felt responsible for making the calls. So as per question 1, he did the opposite. He gave power to his customer service agents. If it involves less than $100, please make the decision yourself, he emailed. To combat abuse, he reviewed these scenarios once a week with his staff, which actually makes sense, kind of training them for the worst case quote-unquote scenarios, so that they just, can put out the fire without actually you just being involved in the whole equation. So surprisingly, few catastrophes happened, and he gradually raised the threshold to $500 and then $1,000. Reviews went from weekly to monthly to never. Consequently, he reduced his personal customer service time spent from 40 hours per week to 2 hours per week, which is definitely a significant change. And you do just have to think about it as you're the fucking CEO of a company, and you are just spending 40 fucking hours a week, which is just quite a regular job, on customer support. And it actually should not be the thing that you should be concerned about. Well, you should be concerned about this, totally. You should be, because, customer is the king, and the customer is just a very, very important part of your company. But you should not be, you should just not do it, I guess. I think it's just way too much time for the CEO, which should actually, at my point of view at least, or as I think about it, should be doing something completely different. As, for example, kind of leading the company, and not just also trying to put out fires inside of the company, and not quite just for the customers quite. I think he then was actually working 3 jobs maybe, because I guess as a CEO you do just have to work more than 40 hours a week. And, with these additional 40 hours, it just had to be just quite a lot of work, I assume at least. So clearly Tim Ferriss' situation is rooted in management, but I'll try to extend this to a general question more people can use. Even if you're not a manager, you probably have people who depend on you for answers, and asking for your guidance soaks up time. The 2-minute exercise. Who are you currently acting as a bottleneck for? Who comes to you for lots of decisions that suck up your time? What is the worst case scenario if you gave them more autonomy? How could you limit the damage that happens? the reflection. If you are a micromanager, you are limiting your output. You're clearly proud of your work and you want to limit the number of mistakes, but you're probably also overestimating the error rate of other people, which is, at my point of view, and as I've been seeing with podcast episodes from, for example, well, I do just have to breathe a little bit. For example, in podcast episodes from Gary Vee, a lot of people seem to struggle with actually kinda giving other people the responsibility and also maybe accountability for things and for things that actually matter a lot. And the customer service is definitely something that matters a lot because the customer itself matters a lot. He and or she and it, whatever, just really matters. It really fucking matters. You know, it's not quite it, but I think it's he and she, and so it, I think, definitely was something that he struggled with, kind of just giving the responsibility and the accountability to somebody else because it's something so important, and I think I would struggle as well. And I also think that I'm such a person. This is probably one of the reasons why I do not want to just work in pairs or work in groups, even though it definitely comes up with, you know, whom I'm working with. You know, if it is really a person that I think like, okay, well, you know, if they do it, it's going to be just good work and everything's going to be okay. It is okay for me. Like, there is nothing to kind of think about, it's nothing to struggle about or struggle with. But if I'm just doubting the whole situation a little bit, or, you know, I do not actually have to doubt the person, but just, you know, in some situations I do not like to give away the responsibility for things that I think are important, and this leads to a lot of work that I have to do. And I think this was just the exact same thing that he went through. Like, people just overestimate, like they say, the error rate of other people, which well, you know, I think it comes from a place of actually kind of caring about the thing that you're dealing with, like the customer service, or for me, like the projects that I was working on. But it really puts you in a place. It really puts you in a place where you do just have to work a lot to actually also compensate the potential or the kind of imagined error rate of somebody else. You know, it's gonna take just a lot of time. It's gonna take a lot of work, and yeah, you know, it's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for your health and you just being able also doing some other things, because I assume actually kind of doing the job of somebody else is not something that a lot of people like. At least I don't like it. Most often, I guess. But yeah, let's see. So this dramatically shortens your leverage. Since you're working on low impact items, other people should be taken care of. You would be surprised how well people do when given more responsibility and trust. As Tim Ferriss says, people's IQ seems to double. Could actually be the case. Well, you know, I really don't know, but I also do think that people just really feel when you're trusting in them, or when you're trusting them, and when you put trust into them and also responsibility, I guess they just feel it, you know, which is, I think, in general the case. That's a lot of things are just felt by people, you know, whether it be just weird situations and whether it be something else. A lot of things people just recognize by feeling them, which is amazing. So people in general are not dumb, or people just really recognize shit, and people really realize shit, even though you might think like, you know, nobody will recognize, nobody will just kind of see it or whatsoever. A lot of people see things, but it might be the case that not a lot of people just talk about what they see, and not a lot of people just, I don't know, want to talk about the things that they see. Well, fuck you, you damn it light. I think that's okay, but I guess it's better. Well, never mind. Question 7. What's the least crowded channel? This question prompts you to find undervalued ways to achieve your goals. When launching his first book, The 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss asked best-selling authors, what were the biggest wastes of time in promoting your book? What would you never do again, and what would you do more of? Consistently, he heard about blogging. Without knowing much about blogging, he went to a trade show and hung around bloggers eavesdropping on conversations and asking questions. This prompted him to start his 4-hour workweek blog, which led to his first viral posts. If you're selling a product or service, this question more literally applies to you. How can you reach people in a way most competitors are ignoring? But for non-entrepreneurs, I'll extend the question once again. And I do think, really for everybody that is selling a product out there, for everybody that might be listening or might know someone who is just selling a product, using the power of organic reach, just regular Instagram posts without actually boosting them or without actually paying for advertisement, I think is a very, very important part of actually, spreading the word of your book and spreading the work actually as well. Because why not? It still takes some time. This is just something that you do have to deal with. It's gonna take some time. It totally is gonna do, but it just has a lot of upside, or just a really big upside. Because first of all, it's for fucking free, and second of all, it's for fucking free. So why wouldn't you try? And also just the chances of you getting recognized, especially if it's something that's I would say chances are just either way good. Like, whether you're just a person that is just, talking about some common shit, talking about some shit that is, just known by the public, or whether you're just, on the long tail and you're, writing about some things that nobody quite knows something about. Like some things just really rare people talk about and think about and also learn about. I think, no matter what you're doing, you're gonna make some sales via just organic reach, via just spreading the word and spreading what you know on social media. And it's great. We do have, I would say just because of the opportunity that we are having with this, just because we can, I think you should be doing it. Because we can. We fucking can, and it's for free. You just, have to pay for your internet just anyways, and for maybe is it electric currency, I guess? You're just having to use up to actually power your devices and whatever. You just also have to pay for this already, so why wouldn't you? But let's actually see what the extended kind of version of this is. So the 2-minute exercise. Who are your direct competitors who have the same goals as you? What are they all spending more of their time doing, and what's their common wisdom? Now invert. What could you do that's undervalued and uncrowded that could help you reach the same goal? Reflection. You may find ways to create value that go outside standard practice. For example, if you're an authority or attorney. What's an attorney? So if you're an attorney, a lawyer, legal practitioner, legal executive, legal advisor, your competition is trying to make a partner by billing a ton of hours. What if you looked in the other direction and you focused on getting new clients in? If you're trying to create a new YouTube channel, YouTube being an established, very crowded network, what new up and coming channel could do? Could you establish yourself on first? Wait a second. I'm just really feeling not good making this episode today. And just really force myself just really in the now to actually do it without, I don't know. I just really don't feel like it at the time. I think I just try to be a little bit slower and just try to maybe talk a little bit more, because I kind of feel like this is just something that I know is just doing better for me. I just understand, and I've also just seen that, when I'm talking about things that when I'm talking about things that are in my mind rather than reading something, everything seems to be a little bit easier for me. Just, a little bit, I think it's a little overdone actually, but it's just way easier for me actually talking about things that are in my mind and that I kind of think about and that I thought about in the past rather than reading something. But so if you're trying to create a new YouTube channel, because YouTube being an established, very crowded network, what new and coming channel could you establish yourself on first? This question might be hard to get answered purely from introspection. Ask experienced people who have already accomplished your goals, what were the biggest wastes of time in your growth and what would you never do again? So what would you do more of? Actually, great question. I think it totally makes sense that you just hit up other YouTubers, hit up other creators, just hit up other people that are just in the same exact space and or have just achieved the same exact thing that you're also trying. What the fucking hell? It pisses me on so fucking much. Just go away, you fucking light. Go away and go out of my fucking camera. But I think it just makes sense. It just really makes sense that you hit up other people who have just actually gotten to where you want to be and ask them, like, I'm sorry, how did you do this? Well, this is actually one of the things that I always ask myself, because I've somewhere just, recognized it. I've somewhere kind of just known this. I've somewhere kind of heard this. That, if you're seeing somebody with a great car, even though this is just really on a very financial level and very, very on a level that is quite okay, if you appreciate people with big cars and with just really expensive cars, you're gonna like this one. If you really hate them and if you think like, okay, just actually losing this kind of money and losing this amount of money to actually maybe look cool to others, well, it's just really a waste of your money and it's really also a waste of your time, and fuck you, you piece of shit. Well, actually do it like this, because this could then actually work like I wanted. Yeah, it's working a little bit. I've somewhere just, noticed this. I've somewhere actually read it. I think I've heard it or saw it in a YouTube video, but it would totally make sense just hitting up these people with just very just big cars or very just expensive cars and ask them what they're doing for a living or how they actually were able to buy this certain car. And there, I guess, answers could vary from, okay, I've been working a lot, to fuck you, just go away, please, I guess. I really assume, like, why not? And maybe just, really comes up to you being optimistic or you being pessimistic by what you're assuming there. But yeah. Question 8, what if I couldn't pitch my product directly? People don't like announcements or being sold products. They like hearing narratives. Like stories. I think narratives are stories. What's it saying? Story, tale, chronicle, history, and whatsoever. So when promoting the 4-hour work week, Tim Ferriss couldn't get journalists to introduce his book, but he fashioned engaging stories around concepts in the book. He showcased success stories from the book, people who redesigned their lifestyles. He wrote about his own personal body transformation, like in Geek to Freak. He realized the 4-hour chef on audiobook for free on BitTorrent. He released the 4-hour chef on audiobook, as in fucking audiobook, on BitTorrent. These were stories worth spreading, and by extensions his book got more publicity. This reflects a broader psychological bias towards accepting reasons for doing things. A famous experiment showed how giving a nonsensical reason could excuse your behavior, and here's how it worked. I'm really not feeling. I'm very sorry for this actually, but I'm just really not feeling this way, and I just know that if I would just take my time, sit here a little bit and just calm down a little bit without actually kind of stressing myself so much about actually going through this right now, because, well, you know what? I'm gonna talk a little bit. I'm gonna make this. I'm just really willing to make this episode a little bit better without actually raging all fucking time because of the light, without kind of just feeling just really bad doing it. It's just not why I'm doing this. I'm just really normally doing this because it's just making fun, and I think it is fun, and it's just, also a great living you could make, like a great living in terms of, really not in terms of the amount of money I could potentially get through making these videos, but by what I'm doing. sitting here making some videos, having some fun editing it, then in a funny way, just, whatsoever, what's gonna work in the future for me is just really great. It's just a lot of fun, I guess, I assume. And, especially if you think about it as like, you do not have to do things. I do not have to go through the summary. I assume, first of all, that it could give me a lot of things, and I also assume that it could give you a lot of things. But what I know is that I do not want to do certain things that I do not want to do. Like, I do not want to do stuff that is just letting me feel bad by doing it. This is just really not something that I also want to work on. No matter, something that I hope for me and something that I hope that I'm going to remind myself on is that I really hope that, when I'm done having a job and when I'm done just, doing my stuff and whatsoever, I really hope that I'm doing something that I'm passionate about. I'm really doing something that is challenging me, and that I'm really doing something that is fun for me. Because happiness is the thing that everyone should go for. It's not about me making the episode. I think it's more about me just being happier by what I'm doing. And I know that this, what I'm doing right here is just what makes me happy. Because I don't know, okay, I haven't been just laying around all day long just doing some bullshit that nobody cares about. But it's just something completely different if I think about it as I've been doing something just a part of the day long that could really impact my life and somebody else's life. And it could really make somebody else's life fucking good. And also my life. And I'm doing something that makes sense here. I'm talking another language. I'm just trying to just learn this language to actually, just really being able to speak it very fluently, very good and whatever. And I'm also just learning a lot of things about self-development, business, management, and all these things, finances. It is just great, I think. It's just really great what I'm doing here. But I should not force myself to do things. Even though I like doing them, there are certain times where I do not feel like it, maybe. It's just exact same case right here. Like, I wanted to do this video, or I wanted to record this video because I thought like, okay, I'm gonna have to hurry up a little bit because I do just, wanna actually go to my girlfriend on in the evening actually. The problem there is, okay, I'm having to work out actually today for an hour. I do have to do the post, I have to make the post, I do have to record the video, and I wanted to do everything as fast as I possibly was able to. And often when I'm doing this, it turns out to not be good for me. It really turns out that, if I really force myself, or if I'm just having to force myself to do things that I'm really not feeling at the time, that it's, first of all, they, really turn out to not be good. And I also turn out to not feel good about it then, or also feel good afterwards. And why is this so fucking, you know what? I'm gonna hold this because I can lean back a little bit and talk. So, and I also should be a little bit more patient. And this is something that I also have to remind myself on way fucking more, because it is just the case that I should not cripple myself or get crippled by what I'm doing here, by just trying to build up something for me, but just trying to produce something. Because, thinking about it popping in the next 5 years is totally something that thinking about it as it popping in the next 6 months. It's gonna be just quite a different stress level if you think about it. Okay, I really want to have my 1 million subscribers in 6 months. Besides the fact of it, actually being possible or not, you really have to work a fucking load. And when I think about it as, okay, in 5 years I'm gonna have 1 million, then it's something different. It really is something different. It's more like, okay, I'm just doing it now because it is fun for me, and I do not have to stress myself out because I know it's gonna take some time, and I know it's gonna be fine, and I know 5 years is 5 times 365 days. It's a fucking load. I don't really have to stress stress myself out to actually produce this one fucking episode just as quick as possible. But it could also just be a part of actually managing my time a little better, to just try to maybe not work out today because I actually do not have to. And I also don't know if it actually makes sense, because the thing is, well, I could also work out tomorrow. I've only been used to it working out on Thursday, because actually today is and Tuesday, I'm sorry. I've been just used to it because of school, because my what is it called? I'm just leaving school an hour earlier on Tuesday, which lets me be able to be a little bit faster with everything else. And therefore I thought, like, okay, why wouldn't I just, work out on Tuesday and everything is fine, because I then do not have to stress myself out, even though sometimes in the end I do have to. But thing is, I could also just work out tomorrow, and it also comes up to what my girlfriend is doing, whether she then just has the time to meet me, in this time span or in another one or whatsoever. There's just a lot of factors, and I should really not get crippled by what I'm doing here. Yeah. This is it. And the 8th question is actually going to be the one that I think I'm going to go through it on the next episode, I guess. And this episode's going to be uploaded today, right afterwards. And I think then I just have to eat something, because this is also, something that actually drives me crazy. And there is actually the whole hangry thing, actually just being hungry. And because of you being hungry, you're angry as well. This is actually a proven thing, because there are certain, I think there are certain chemicals or endorphins or whatever produced in your gut, and these then let you just be fucking angry. But yeah, I still hope that you've somehow enjoyed this episode, even though it was, something different maybe. I do not want to say that this is a bad episode, because I really should not be the judge of my own work, because often we feel like, just people that create stuff, we believe that, things we've created are just really not good. And it actually turns out to be quite the opposite. It really turns out to be actually good. But yeah, I really hope you're doing fine. I'm gonna maybe chill out a little bit or eat something afterwards. And yeah, I wish you the best health, wealth, happiness, and success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you're going to be remembered, which means your legacy, on whether you are going to be remembered as a good person or as a bad person, because it definitely is in your hands. Yeah, I see you, and thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. I love you. I see you. Fuck.